What's going on there, YouTube? And welcome back to another comic book video. This is the channel where we sit down and cover different comic book stories from different comic book companies. Today, we are going to jump back over to Marvel Comics and we are going to do a full story video. A full story video is when I take a bunch of videos, combine them together to make one singular video. Today, we're going to pick up with Ultimate Comics X-Men. Now, this series right here is technically the second X-Men series in the Ultimate Marvel Universe, but it picks up after Ultimate Fallout. Now, at the end of Ultimate Fallout, we got word that mutants are still being hunted because, of course, they're being mutants. And so you have different organizations trying to hunt them down. But this whole storyline is about Kitty Pryde realizing that mutants have a right, and she leads a revolution to give those mutants the rights they deserve. And so this is her storyline on how she led a revolution in the Ultimate Marvel Universe. I do hope you enjoy today's comic book video.
So with this book, it opens up with giving us a reminder of what the world is like for a mutant. Where if you are a mutant, it is illegal, and regular humans have the right to shoot mutants on sight if they don't turn themselves in. We also learn that there are camps across the nation that are full of mutants. So basically, if you are a mutant, there is nowhere for you to go to feel safe, really. Now we're going to shift the focus on Karen Grant, aka Jean Grey. We see her going to a home of a young child and hoping the parents will be okay with the child leaving with her. Now remember, in our Ultimate X video, Jean Grey goes by Karen Grant now because when she was on the X-Men, the whole world knew who she was. So she has to pretend to be someone else to give her the ability to move around the world freely. But getting back to her going to the home of a new mutant, we see that when she gets there, she is greeted by the parents, where you have the mother acting strange around Jean Grey, answering the questions, talking about when her child powers began to manifest. But when Jean Grey wants to meet with the child, Jean Grey hears a gunshot and comes to find out that the father of the new mutant killed her. He did not want his child to go through life as a mutant. But we do get other forms of updates about the world for Ultimate Marvel, and this is picking up from Ultimate Fallout, where the whole world now knows that it was the American government that made mutants. Because remember, in Ultimate Origins, Wolverine was the first mutant, took his gene and made a virus that was airborne and led to a world full of mutants. With this information now being out into the world, you had the American people rioting because of what they now know. We learn all of this through Valerie Cooper, who is on the president's team who deals with the mutants and superhuman problems in the country. While this press conference is going on, you had a son of Wolverine watching the news, where of course Valerie Cooper states that the virus was started by Wolverine and Weapon X. Now, we first met Jimmy when Karen Grant and him formed the Ultimate X team that is now working for Nick Fury, except Jimmy decides that he is tired of being on the Ultimate X team and wants to go see the place where his father became the test subject for the mutant virus. Shifting the focus back on the idea of camps being made in America as a way to contain mutants in, we learn that the American government is trying to paint a picture that these camps are loved by mutants, except in reality they are not. And we learn that Storm and Colossus are both in camps. Colossus is in one that is more of torturing him. But again, it is the American government lying about how these camps really are. We get the return of Rogue, but with her return, we get our introduction to Ultimate Nimrod, basically the new sentinel the American government has made to capture mutants across the nation. Now, in the main Marvel universe, Nimrod was the perfect sentinel from the future. Except here, of course, the Ultimate Marvel universe was able to make Nimrod in the present day. Finally, we get to see what the president is doing while this press conference is going on. Him and Nick Fury are seeing that everything is falling apart in the country, and Nick Fury tells him things are only going to get worse from this moment here. But while they were talking, that is when we see Pietro appear, aka Quicksilver, the son of Magneto. Remember that in Ultimate Fallout, he had this plan to sell mutants to make a profit, but he was secretly working for the ghost of his sister, the Scarlet Witch. Then we pick up who will become the main character of this book, which is Kitty Pryde, who is with Bobby Drake, aka Iceman, and Johnny Storm, aka the Human Torch. We saw in Ultimate Fallout, they went into the Morlock tunnels to hide down there from the human race. Now, Kitty Pryde does not want to do any more superhero stuff, and she just wants to stay down there to hide from being arrested. Except on Iceman tablet, he shows her what is happening in the city and says they need to be heroes to save one of their old friends, which of course is Rogue herself, because she was the one being chased down by Nimrod. Now we pick up with Jimmy, the son of Wolverine, where we see that he is captured by a certain group. Now this is bringing back a character we have not seen since Ultimate X-Men tie-in to the Ultimatum event, which is William Stryker Jr. He was the character whose family died in the flood in Ultimatum, which made him hate mutants and lead an army of men who had built Sentinel armor into their bodies to kill off most of the X-Men. Remember, he did not want to be like his father who hated mutants, but thanks to the flood, he kind of began the process of hating them. Well, really, he feels like God put him on this planet to kill mutants. But before we can focus more on him, we have to see Kitty, Bobby, and Johnny being a team for once and trying to save Rogue from the swarm of Nimrods. Now earlier I mentioned how the Nimrod robots were basically the perfect version of the first Sentinel in this world. The reason why is because they are able to adapt to each mutant's powers and give them a run for their money. We see that here in this book, where you have Nimrod being able to easily take on Johnny Storm and Iceman powers like it was nothing. Also the fact that you have Kitty Pryde try to take on the Nimrods as well, and her powers don't work either. And so this leads into them realizing that they can't beat these guys, and so they grab Rogue and dip out before something else happens. Now Nick Spencer, the writer of this book, does a great job taking a character past that was barely explored and then builds on it for his story. Because back in the early days of Ultimate X-Men, we learned that Rogue was somewhat religious, especially when it came to her first time seeing Angel. So what Nick Spencer does is that he basically has her act like God has spoken to her, told her to go to the pier where the Nimrods were at and to cause havoc, because she was told that her old friends would show up and save her. Focusing back on William Stryker Jr., we see him interrogating a young lady named Elise Cartwright. Now, we don't get the chance to see Elise for that long. The reason why is because we see her quickly get killed off by William Stryker Jr. Now, before she was killed, we learn that after the ultimatum wave, when she was able to return back to her apartment, there was 2 mutants hiding in her home. And of course, with mutants being illegal, the kids had nowhere to go, so she took them in. But after that, more kids came, and it led to a total of 9 kids. Of course, all being mutants. And so for William Stryker Jr., she sinned for protecting those kids. So he kills her off, and we learn that his soldiers found the kids that she was trying to hide. But this leads into Nick Spencer growing the Ultimate X-Men world. The reason why I say that is because in Egypt, there was a light coming from a cave and making it seem that something is coming. Now, getting back to Quicksilver, we learn what he is trying to do. Well, really, we get a learning block to his master plan, which is still unknown to us. But he understands the president is trying to control all of the flames from the chaos of all of his problems. And so you have Quicksilver offer a solution to help with those problems, especially a solution that will help with the mutant problem, which gains the ear of both the president and Valerie Cooper, where we learn that this man is going to offer us Cerebro as a way to help the president with his mutant problem. Because if Cerebro falls in his hands, the president will be able to locate mutants across the globe. This is where you have Nick Spencer kind of start bringing the characters he wants to write about together. Because once you have Kitty, Bobby, Rogue, and Johnny get back to the Murloc tunnels, they are greeted by a young mutant boy named Joshua, where he asks the X-Men to help him and his friend. That someone told him to come down to the Murloc tunnels to get help. We see that his friend is Jimmy, the son of Wolverine. This is where we learn that after Jimmy got captured earlier in this video, he actually broke out of his cage. His goal was to save the lives of the children because he knew something was going to happen to them. So of course he does break out and is able to break the kids out as well. The problem is that the kids he was with, well, they all got shot and killed by the guards. Jimmy was able to jump in front of the bullets to save Joshua here, but they fell in the river and floated away. This is also showing Jimmy's healing factor is way slower than his father. Now, Jimmy does wake up finally from his injuries, where of course you have the X-Men asking him questions, but he jumps to the point where he says that he needs their help because the people who grabbed him earlier were William Stryker Jr.'s men, and he heard how Stryker is rounding up a bunch of mutants to kill them all at once, making them an example for the whole world to see. That is when we see in New York at one of the riots, you have Stryker there with his men, telling his men to proceed with the plans. And we learn he has snipers placed around the city to kill people off. This is him saying it is time for the world to hear the word of the Lord. You have Nick Spencer spend some time going back over the past of William Stryker Jr. by going back over the events of Ultimatum, the Flood, building an army while using Sentinel armors, and taking the fight to the Xavier School. But we never saw what happened to William Stryker Jr. after Ultimatum, but before this book right here. Well, we learn after he fought against the X-Men at the school, he was visited by his father's spirit. His father never truly treated him like a father should. He was physically and verbally abusive to Stryker. We get to see that again, even though this is just a spirit visiting his son, But you have his father basically encourage his son to continue the fight, but go after anyone who has connections to mutants. So like their mothers, fathers, cousins, and the list goes on. But his father says God sent him on a mission to help Stryker to achieve a certain goal. This section is closed off with us picking up with William Stryker Jr. torturing himself because maybe his father told him to, except he is confronted by a soldier tells him that they are ready. What he means is that Stryker now has a huge following waiting to hear his word, be their leader to go after the mutant race. But we also see he talks about having the ability to heal people, which is something very interesting, to be honest. Getting back to the White House, you have Quicksilver still trying to sell Cerebro over to Valerie Cooper and the president, which at the end will help them locate mutants across the world. But sadly, their conversation gets interrupted because of the riots going on in New York City. They turn on the TV to see what William Stryker is doing in the city, but get an update that he has taken out all of the cops and the National Guards that were out there trying to control the riot. This is where we learn about why William Stryker is doing all of this for. And it is because men has sinned to him with the creation of mutants thanks to men, that is men going against what God had planned for men. That men is always trying to find ways to improve themselves and go against what God had made. Since mutants were against what God had planned, that is why he wants to kill them off. They are basically men's sin. It is wrong to sin, and that is why he has a truckload of mutants. He is going to kill all of them off on live television. Now, with this being on live television, of course, the X-Men who are hiding out in the Morlock tunnels saw what happened, where you have Johnny, Bobby, and Jimmy agree to go save these mutants, except of course, Kitty does not want to help them out. She wants to stay safe and hidden in the Morlock tunnels, and this makes Johnny angry because Kitty Pryde talks about what Peter Parker wants and acts like she was the only one who truly knows because her and Peter Parker dated. But you have Johnny make her angry by saying she does not have the right to act like she's the only one who knows what Peter Parker wanted. She was not there when it came to his final fight against Norman Osborn, the Green Goblin. So Kitty smacks Johnny and makes him fly across the room. But after that, all of the X-Men leave except Kitty to go save the mutants. Here comes the big plot twist because you have Joshua, the young boy, wake up from his nap because of the argument between the X-Men, where he reveals to Kitty that Rogue is actually a traitor. That when it came to one of the attacks by Stryker, Joshua saw Rogue and Stryker talking like they're friends, which reveals to us that Rogue went to one of Stryker's sermons about healing the mutant race, and with her being religious, she went to him for help. We do get another page that shows William Stryker when he was younger, but this page was given to us as a hint of the true nature of William Stryker, but also see another example of his father verbally abusing him. But getting back to the present day, we pick up with Stryker going on with his big speech about how men need to atone for their sins. So you have him pick one mutant from the group he kidnapped. And this is where the big surprise comes in, where you have him being able to heal this random mutant mutated skin to make him look human again. Except right after he does that, he kills off the mutant right there on live television for the whole world to see. With that happening, we see at the White House that the president is freaking out. Doesn't help that you have Quicksilver speaking about how the American people will no longer believe in the president. First, the information got out about the idea of mutants being made by men, then the riots across the nation, and now some madman in New York killing mutants on live television. So with that, he starts to listen more to Quicksilver rather than listening to Valerie Cooper, who he hired to help with mutants and superhuman problems. And so you have Quicksilver go get Cerebro to help the president locate mutants, and the president kicks out Valerie out of the meeting. Except after that, she asks her assistant to grab files on both Quicksilver and William Stryker. She knows something is up. Switching back over to Stryker, we see that he is going to continue the idea of healing mutants and killing them as a process of atoning for men's sin on the creation of mutants. But that is when you had the X-Men arrive to stop him. But this is a huge moment for the X-Men. This is when the X-Men realize that Rogue is actually a traitor for the team, with William Stryker talking to her like they are allies. Now we jump back 2 weeks ago, where we get the idea of how Rogue had joined the side of William Stryker. Now something else to mention as a reminder is that Rogue and William fought against each other back in the Ultimate X-Men tie-ins to the Ultimatum event. So when she walked into his camp, he was the only one who knew that she was a mutant. Now he tells her that he has the ability to heal mutants, but before he can do that for her, she must pay back for her sin, which is being a mutant. Because remember, she has become fully religious and believes she is a sin for being a mutant. And so with us learning that, you had a story jump back to the present day, and we pick up with Rogue basically betraying the X-Men. She takes out Iceman, Human Torch, and also Jimmy because William Stryker planned all of this. Her bringing the X-Men here to him, but of course after she does that, you have Kitty Pryde appear to stop both Rogue and him, because she knows that Rogue is a traitor thanks to Joshua. Then we get a few pages that show us the 3 different settings all at once. The president using Cerebro, Valerie Cooper looking into the folder of William Stryker, and Kitty fighting against Rogue and William Stryker. Now we also see Quicksilver uploading Cerebra, the newer version of Cerebro, into the Nimrod system. But the main point of these pages is that you have Valerie find out something very important about William Stryker thanks to his folder. Except when she finds out and runs back to the president, Kitty Pryde beats down on William Stryker, which leads to him almost dying. But the big thing that Valerie found out about William Stryker is that he is a mutant himself, which is a huge plot twist. But his father kept him drugged up to hide the fact that he was one, to keep him from showing his powers. But when the president asked what is William Stryker power is, Valerie Cooper tells him that he can control machines. And that is the moment he controls all of the Nimrod Sentinels in America, meaning that he can proceed to kill off all the mutants across the country. Before we can see William Stryker using the Nimrods to cause havoc across the nation, we actually jump back 3 weeks ago and we pick up with Rogue again. We see her going to a church to pray, but someone else this time greets her about her prayers being answered. Back in the present day, we see that when Kitty Pryde was fighting against William Stryker, she actually killed him. But killing him does not stop his control over the army of Nimrods. So before she is able to do anything to Rogue, you have Rogue show what is going on behind her. which is Nimrod attacking the city looking for mutants to kill. Now, when Valerie Cooper answered the question that still needs to be answered, the main one is how Stryker was able to heal mutants. Well, she explains that since mutants were man-made and the X gene in them is technically tech, William Stryker is able to use his powers to shut down the X gene. That is how he was able to heal mutants. But thanks to the president sending in the Nimrod army to stop William Stryker, he just basically gave a terrorist an army of robots to kill off mutants. With that being said, you have Quicksilver leave because he got what he wanted. Now, truthfully, you would think we would get some epic battle between the X-Men and the Nimrods in the middle of the city, except we don't. We really get the X-Men trying to defend themselves against these Nimrods long enough until the Nimrods decide to leave the X-Men and the other mutants alone. So with that happening, you have the X-Men wondering, where in the world are the Nimrods going to? But you have the X-Men realize they have the time to escape before the Nimrods come back. But the Nimrods are now under the control of Stryker's powers, and now he is sending them across the nation to wipe out the mutant race. But 20 minutes later, you have the X-Men and the mutants William had kidnapped escape back into the Murloc tunnels. With them being in the tunnels, the question is, what's next? Because now Kitty Pryde's plan is falling apart. It was supposed to be just her, Bobby, and Johnny Storm. Now there's Rogue and also the group of mutants. But that is when you have what happened in Ultimate Hawkeye in the Ultimate book. Oracle telling the world about coming to Tien, which used to be Seer, to be welcome and have somewhere to be safe. This only happened after Rogue told the X-Men that God told her after Stryker they needed to go to Seer. And so with that message appearing, it seems more like God has been talking to Rogue. Or is it God? Now, to close on this book, this is where you had a story shift back in time to reveal to us who met with Rogue at that church we saw just a moment ago. That it is actually Charles Xavier himself. He was the one who spoke to Rogue about doing certain things. The question is this really Charles Xavier? Because he died in Ultimatum. But this is where So with the opening chapter of this book, we'll be following Quicksilver for a moment because it is Nick Spencer building off the idea that Quicksilver has been plotting something big because he is working with his sister, the Scarlet Witch. We saw all of that in Ultimate Fallout. But in the first few pages, it is more of us seeing that he actually had a hand in the creation of the Nimrods, that he had actually given over the materials to help make the Nimrod robots be almost unbeatable. This builds on the question of what Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch are planning. They are basically helping mankind kill off the mutant race. Because we saw in the last Ultimate X-Men video, the Nimrods were already hunting down the mutant race. But we also saw at the tail end of that video, William Stryker Jr. was a mutant who can communicate with technology. When he died, his conscience was transported into the Nimrod system. And since he believes in killing mutants, not capturing them and putting them in camps like the original program of the Nimrods followed, you now have the Nimrod robots going around killing off the mutant race at a faster rate. This is where Nick Spencer changes it up a little by explaining that with Quicksilver helping the creation of Nimrod and also the idea of him selling mutants for profit, it wasn't to help kill off the mutant race. Instead, it was to make the mutant race look at him as a king of sort, a leader. So he runs back to his sister, the Scarlet Witch, because we learn that she did not die in Ultimates 3 like where we thought she did, and apparently it was her plan. Well, really, she was following orders from God. She started to sound like Rogue did in our last video, that God has been talking to her as well. Now, Quicksilver does get upset because to him, the fact his sister is telling him that God told her to follow these plans is crazy. He actually tries to fight her, but of course, he is no match for his sister, but she tells him it is still his fault. We learn that she told him that he had to go to Egypt, and she told him when they last met. He never did, and he disobeyed orders, and for him doing that, the mutant's death are the results for not following orders. So she tells him that he needs to go to Egypt and visit a certain someone that he actually does not want to meet. Scarlet Witch tells him that he must go and beg for forgiveness. So he does go to Egypt like he was instructed, but before we can see who is the mysterious person behind all of this God, we see Quicksilver kind of open up how he feels about being at fault for the death of many mutants. He's tired of being looked at by people as a failure, also feeling like a failure, because over and over again, he has failed his father, the Ultimates, and his sister. This person tells Quicksilver that he is not mad at him for not following orders, that he wanted to give Quicksilver is more fatherly love. It is revealed that the person who is this God, or the person behind all of this, is no other than Magneto himself, stating that he is also alive like Quicksilver and Charles Xavier. And the question is, how is that even possible? This leads into us picking up with the second chapter. Kind of like the first chapter, it's another one-shot following a certain character. But this one starts off reviewing what is going on in the other Ultimate books if you were not reading the Ultimates or the Ultimate Hawkeye books, where it was established that a country known as Seer had a plan to spread an airborne virus to get rid of the mutant race, establishing that with the mutant race mostly being in the United States, they could become weapons for the United States. So the virus was made to get rid of mutants, but then they made a serum that would turn regular humans into metahumans. They were going to make the metahumans work for them. It would have made Seer the most powerful country in the world. Except the metahumans actually used their powers to overrun Seer and, well, got rid of Seer and replaced it with a new country called Tien. There are two cities in the sky that are being run by the Zorn brothers, who we last saw in our last Ultimates video. But we did pick up with Valerie Cooper, and we see her meeting up with Nick Fury. Valerie Cooper being the person on the president's staff who handles superhuman and mutant problems. The reason why she is here because she kind of wants an update on the Ultimate situation with them dealing with Tien. Of course, this part takes place before Ultimates Volume 2 because Tien had gone through some things. But the reason why it is being brought up is because, remember, in Ultimate Hawkeye, Nick Fury team of mutants were working with Hawkeye on getting a sample of the serum that turns humans into metahumans. It was Karen Grant, aka Jean Grey, Liz Allen, aka Firestar, and the Guardian. The thing is that they all decided to stay over there because they were welcome to stay by one of the Zorn brothers. The point of this section is more pointing out that Valerie Cooper knows that Karen Grant is Jean Grey, and no one was supposed to know that. Before we can explore the idea of Valerie Cooper knowing about Jean Grey, we shift our focus actually on the Ultimate X team as they're on a rescue mission. We see a group of kid traffickers who are trafficking kids. So the Zorn brothers has sent the Ultimate X team to stop them and save the children. So we do get a couple of pages of them being superheroes and actually stopping the child traffickers and saving the children, where we see them taking the children back to the Country 10, a small section that was full of action. Getting back to Valerie Cooper and Nick Fury conversation over Karen Grant being Jean Grey, we don't get the chance to find out how she knows that piece of information, but it is the main reason why she is here talking to Nick Fury, because she knows that the Ultimate X team stayed with the Zorn brothers. To her, it seems like Nick Fury just handed over the most powerful weapon, referring to Jean Grey, over to a very powerful threat. But then you have Nick Fury basically show Valerie that she should never doubt him, because he then calls in Karen Grant. To Valerie, she should not be there. And this is where Jean Grey reveals that she is so powerful, she is making the whole world believe that she's over there, even making the Zorn brothers think that she's over there with them. Except in reality, she's still back at the S.H.I.E.L.D. base. Firestar and Guardian even thinks that she's over there with them. Now Valerie Cooper leaves, but right after she leaves, Nick Fury asks Karen Grant to erase her memory of Karen Grant being there. Nick Spencer throws another plot twist at us, because we then jump over to 10, where we see Karen Grant aka Jean Grey arriving back at 10 to talk to one of the Zorn brothers, where we find out that the Zorn brothers actually have made Karen Grant switch sides, where in reality Nick Fury thinks that his mental defenses protects him from Karen Grant aka Jean Grey powers, except they don't, and he thinks she is still on his side, but no. She's on the Zorn brothers' side. She's making Nick Fury think she is over at S.H.I.E.L.D. base. But the big twist is when you have Zorn ask Karen Grant to reveal her real self, meaning that he knows that she is Jean Grey. And the question is, how did he find this out? Now we finally focus on Storm and Colossus, because remember that after Ultimatum, these two were thrown into a camp, except one of them is being tortured, and that is Colossus. The reason why he is being tortured is because some organization wants to know about something that he apparently knows, even though he mentions that he has no idea what they are talking about. But of course, they continue to torture him until he tells them what they want to hear. But while Colossus is being tortured in the basement level, we see him being watched by a group of guards and their leader, John Walker. This is our first appearance of John Walker, and it will be short-lived. But he is second in charge of the camp and works under Colonel Lake, which he does walk in and pulls John Walker to the side to have a conversation. Now, John Walker is kind of on the borderline on liking or disliking mutants, but you have Colonel Lake point out that the camps is an attempt to work for a goal to find a way to have mutants and humans coexist. Camps also were made to protect humans and mutants from each other. He knows this plan of the camps is not enough to reach that goal. Also, he is hoping to show John Walker that mutants need humans on their side to reach that goal. This is where we learn that Colonel Lake has been working alongside with Aurora, aka Storm. You have Storm point out that she is happy to help Colonel Lake, but as a way to help build that bond between humans and mutants. She does point out that there is a problem, and that problem is Stacy X, a young mutant who lost a friend recently because some guards here at Camp Angel said her friend killed 2 of their friends, and so they shot him 60 times. With that statement, she believes the justice they thought they were delivering is morally wrong. Storm believes there could be a civil war in the camp, but she also asks if Colonel Lake is close to freeing Colossus, where he states he is trying to get Colossus out of the torturing part of this camp. Of course, this leads into a situation where you have Colonel Lake and John Walker trying to continue their conversation only to be stopped by another guard. That guard tells him that something is being played on the TV, and Lake wants all the TVs turned off. Except it is too late because Storm and everyone else in the camp saw the broadcast where Valerie Cooper told the world that mutants were not the next step in evolution, except in reality they were man-created. And this is big because mutants are being hunted by humans, but humans made them. They're all getting killed across the nation by the people that made them. And this upsets Storm completely. So the next moment you have Colonel Lake trying to play crowd control and speak on the behalf of his people, trying to keep the mutant race calm before they try to start a war in the camp. To him, that piece of information is out there. It should not change anything. That humans and mutants can work together in this world. Except while he was giving his speech, Storm cut her hair down, got a new outfit, and then she called down lightning bolts yelling, "No more lies," beginning a civil war in the camp. The first half of chapter 4 is more showing us the fall of Camp Angel, where we see the mutants who were trapped inside the camp breaking everyone out. With them doing that, we see them learn that at the surface of the camp, things seem normal. Underneath the camp though, things were not. Mutants were being tortured and beaten down on, some kept in containers as well. They even found some dead bodies of mutants who were being used as test subjects. That Camp Angel wasn't so keen on the idea of mutants and humans living together, that in reality, they were trying to find how mutants work. You have Storm go and free her old friend Colossus as well. So now he is free, but things are still about to get more interesting. After that, you have Storm watching over Colossus as he is finally able to get a full night of sleep. Except that is when she sees mutants running in a hallway and wondering what's going on. That is when she finds out that Stacy X is planning to kill the guards, John Walker and Colonel Lake as well, as a way for justice for what they have learned about the race of mutants and what the camp has been doing to mutants. Except you have Storm come in and tell everyone to stop. This leads into an argument between Stacy X and Storm, where Stacy X believes that Charles Xavier was wrong. Humans and mutants can't live together and they should go ahead and kill off the guards. Except you have Storm remind the mutants that Charles Xavier was not killed by humans, except he was killed by a mutant. Of course, talking about Magneto. So she goes with the idea that they should take a vote on what they should do with the guards. Kill them off or let them live. Again, Nick Spencer, man, this dude knows how to write a story, because after the vote, we learn there is a tie between the two sides. So Storm wonders if she can talk to the ones who voted against her and change their mind. But then Colossus walks out, and to Storm, she thinks he is going to vote with her and saving the lives of the guards. He was an X-Men with her, and they lived together, and they were also close friends. Except Colossus shows that with him being tortured for so long, he wants revenge and votes against Storm and kills Colonel Lake with his bare hands. Before Storm can do anything about Colossus, that is when you have the Nimrods appear, and of course, they are still being taken over by William Stryker, well, his conscience really, to kill all mutants. So of course, the opening pages of chapter 5 are the mutants running for their lives because the army of Nimrods is raining down bullets, killing mutants off left and right in the opening section. Storm can't believe that the Nimrods have gone to hostile because she has no idea about what happened in New York with Stryker and the Nimrods. Also, she knows is that they were never really in a hostile state unless they had to. They were more of capturing mutants instead, which of course they are not doing that at the moment. This is where you have John Walker surprise everyone as he tells Storm to grab who she can and he will lead them to safety by going into some hidden tunnels. Now remember, before this, Walker was kind of tiptoeing the line of should he like or dislike mutants, but with his conversation with Colonel Lake, it kind of helped him change his mind. Now Storm and Walker both are wondering why in the world Nimrods are going hostile for. Then we pick up with Valerie Cooper again, who tells us that all of the camps in Oklahoma, Arizona, New Mexico, and Nevada are being wiped out by the Nimrods, except they are not stopping when they hit the camps. Now they're hitting cities around the camps, even some big cities like Las Vegas and Phoenix as well. The National Guards are not going to fight back because they know they don't stand a chance against the Nimrods. All of this is leading up to Divided We Fall, United We Stand event we're going to begin covering next week. We finally pick up with Kitty Pryde, Johnny Storm, Bobby Drake, Rogue, Jimmy, and the rest of the mutants they had saved earlier in the last video hiding out in the Murloc tunnels, where Johnny is watching the news report, where you have the president telling the whole nation about what is happening in the Southwest states, the ones being attacked by the Nimrods. Also remember that in our Ultimates video, Texas left and made their own country, but you have the president basically state that those states are on their own now, which means it is really Nimrod territory. To make things even worse, you have chapter 5 revealed that the Nimrods are making their own, well, they're making something very big. And the thing is, we are not going to find out until later books. But guys, I want you to remember this moment right here. Now, chapter 6 is the last issue Nick Spencer did on the X-Men, where he opens up with someone pulling up to a mental hospital. When you have a nurse trying to stop him, the nurse aged at such a fast rate he dies. It goes for the same for the people inside the hospital as well. They all grow old and die in a hurry. And the question is, who is this person and why he is here in a mental hospital? Now, the reason why this mysterious man came to this mental hospital is for one certain mutant who we have not seen in a long time. He sometimes flies under the radar in the main Marvel universe, but especially in Ultimate Marvel. That person is Alex Summers, the brother to Scott Summers, aka Cyclops. We see him talking to his brother Cyclops, where it seems he is not dead, but his mind playing a trick on him. Now really, what Cyclops talks to Havoc about at first is not important. It is what he says when our mysterious friend breaks into the room of Alex Summers to break him free, because our mysterious character can tell Alex is talking to the ghost of Scott Summers, and Scott is telling Alex he needs to go with the mysterious character. We skip over to Roxxon and we pick up with Layla Miller, who we have not seen since the Ultimate Doom trilogy, where she was part of this team full of geniuses. And we see her at a board meeting until she is pulled away to meet up with our mysterious character, where we see he has delivered Alex Summers to Roxxon. We learn the reason why is because he is one of the 4 people they need for something called the White Room. Now, I could sit here and explain the White Room in the main Marvel universe, but not going to do that. But they need 4 mutants. Alex is one of them. And they talk about Colossus being another one. They said they know the third and they have to go to Tien for that one. but they have no idea who the fourth one is, and that is the big question. This is where we learn that the mysterious person in this last chapter is actually Mr. Sinister. Remember, we saw him last time in Ultimate Doom, but it was after his body was transformed into Apocalypse. Then Jean Grey used her Phoenix powers to change reality into a better world. It did seem like in Ultimate Doom, he was better than he was before, except once again, he is back in the picture trying to work for Apocalypse. And the question is now, what are they planning to do this time? And this is where we're going to end today's video. So the opening of this book is more of a review on what happened in our last video. As we saw different videos, different parts of the country are becoming their own nation. Some being forced, like the southwestern states in America. They are being overrun by the Nimrod Sentinels. The president just announced that those states are now enemy territory, meaning that mutants and humans are on their own when it comes to those states. Now for Kitty Pryde, this is her story. In the beginning of this run, she stated that we were going to see her become the most feared and hated terrorist in the country. After hearing the news, she needed some air. She had stopped by another mutant named Nami, and I know I just butchered that name. But this part right here is to show their bond between the two of them. This is the moment you have Kitty Pryde decide that it is time for her and the mutants that are with her to make a difference in the world. She is tired of hiding and watching the mutant race be killed off left and right. So we jump over to a protest that is happening in the middle of New York City, where you have some humans trying to stand up for the mutant race, showing there are some people out there who care. But of course, on the police side, they look at these humans as scum now, because these humans have joined the side of the mutants. When the police try to shoot these mutants down, you have Kitty Pryde appear, and she saves the day, where she takes down these police officers, and she is making a statement that there could be some mutants out there who will actually fight back, and they can actually kill off these regular humans. And so after she had taken those cops down, we see her go back to the Murloc tunnels and tell her friends, which are Rogue, Johnny Storm, Bobby Drake, and Jimmy, the son of Wolverine. She tells them that she is going to leave New York and go to the southwestern states to fight against the Nimrods to save the mutants out there who are dying. Also, this is her stating that it is time for the mutant race to make a stand. Now, Rogue, Bobby Drake, and Jimmy are down to go with her. Also, we are establishing that Jimmy, the son of Wolverine, may have a crush on Kitty. Johnny Storm, the Human Torch of the Fantastic Four, decides to stay back. The reason why is because someone has to watch over the children they had saved in our first Ultimate Comic X-Men video. So this is where the new X-Men say goodbye to Johnny Storm. So we see them begin their route of leaving New York and heading to the southwestern states. Also seeing Jimmy make small moves on Kitty Pryde. But this is the beginning of Kitty Pryde becoming a powerful force in the country. The question is, what are we going to see her do that will make her become that powerful force? Again, it's just her trying to save the mutant race. But out of nowhere, we do get a few pages of us seeing some police officers going down into the Murloc tunnels after Kitty, Bobby, Rogue, and Jimmy had left for the Southwest, where of course they are there to capture the mutants because being a mutant is still illegal. Where you have these police officers find Johnny and the children and just let out a ton of bullets, making it seem like they had just killed off a bunch of kids and Johnny in the process. Only to see that Kitty Pryde was having a bad dream, but also the fact that she has not been able to get in contact with Johnny ever since they left. Also, they are traveling by car now. But this is showing that with them going on this trip is going to change them as characters because they are going through a tough process. With them going into Nimrod territory, they could see a lot of different things. Now we have to remember that the Nimrods have been taken over by the mind of William Stryker Jr. when he died back in our first Ultimate Comic X-Men video. Remember that William Stryker Jr. was a mutant. He didn't know he was, but he was one. Also, he hated mutants. Now his ability was be able to control technology. So when he died, his conscience went into the Nimrod system. And with the fact that he hated mutants so much, the Nimrods are now going across the country, killing mutants left and right because William Stryker Jr. has taken over the system with his mind, with his conscience. He hated mutants so much. But with them taking over the Nimrod system and them taking over the Southwest states, you have groups of people joining their sides because there were humans who hated mutants and now they are helping out with killing them off, pointing out that people true colors are showing now because they have an army of robots to back up their choices. Now, while they were traveling, of course, they hit a checkpoint. This checkpoint is, of course, to make sure that they are not mutants. Humans who are trying to see if they are able to capture someone who is trying to pretend to be a mutant, where they make Kitty Pryde get out of the car and the rest stay in the car. Now, Kitty Pryde has to pretend that she is not a mutant because they can't be causing a scene just yet until they have made it to their destination. So right now, she has to pretend that she is a regular human being, even letting this man talk down on the mutant race and judge her up and down. It is a real tough situation for her, but also the fact that she was able to convince them that she is just a human being. Now, the section we are going to close on is when they arrive at a diner and you have Kitty Pryde go to a payphone to try to call Johnny Storm. Now, this is interesting because even in 2011, payphones were hardly around anymore. But when she tries to call Johnny Storm, who is still back at the Murloc tunnels, that is when the group from earlier who ran that checkpoint earlier actually followed Kitty Pryde group all the way to the diner they had stopped at. So while she is on the phone, on the inside, the checkpoint group begin to interrogate Jimmy and the others. At the same time, when gunshots go off in the diner, that is when Nami tells Kitty that the children are safe, but there was a raid and Johnny Storm was taken. Now the question is, by who? So the opening of this book reminds us what is happening in the Ultimate Marvel universe in this event. Washington, D.C. was blown up thanks to Reed Richards, Nick Fury, and other leaders in government who are no longer around. Southwest states have been taken over by Nimrod Sentinels and small militia groups. They are going around killing mutants because they hate them so much. Picking back up with Kitty Pryde X-Men team, remember, her, Rogue, Iceman, and the son of Wolverine went to the southern states to help free them from the Nimrods. Well, they stopped by a diner, and a group of humans they had interacted with earlier at a checkpoint on a road followed them to the diner and shot Jimmy. Of course, Jimmy has a healing factor just like his father and was able to come back to life and begin battling against these guys. With Jimmy starting a fight, of course, the other X-Men join in on the battle, and this leads up to a big moment and kind of shows the direction the X-Men will be going. See, Iceman, Rogue, and Kitty Pryde, well, they're only attacking these guys to temporarily stop them from coming back. Except Jimmy is beginning to have the mindset of how to handle things like his father, where he actually ends up killing someone. Because Rogue asks what the rules are for how much damage to do to these guys, and Jimmy shows her what the rules are by stabbing someone. Proceeding on after that, we see them regroup in their car, driving down deeper into the southwestern states. This leads into Kitty Pryde telling them they need to ditch the car, and also she needs to tell them some news. So in our last video, Kitty found out that Johnny Storm had been taken. Remember that when Kitty and her fellow X-Men left on this mission, they left Johnny Storm, who was living with them. They left him to stay with the group of children they had saved in our first Ultimate Comics X-Men video. He was supposed to watch over the group of children, but she found out there was a raid and he was taken. The question the group has is that, who are the people that took him? Do they know that he is not a mutant? Also, the team wonders what is their next move, which is to continue on to free the southwestern states from the Nimrod Sentinels. This leads into a nice brief moment for the book, where we see them trying to find somewhere to rest, which they do, and they were able to find a car there as well. We can see them happy here because it is a moment of fresh air for them, away from all of the madness. Rogue and Iceman getting along again for the first time since they dated way back then. Also seems like Jimmy and Kitty might have a thing going on for them as well in this book. Now the X-Men team was able to make it to a small town to find out that it has been taken over by the Nimrods, where they meet a group of people, but more especially a young girl named Husk. We're going to learn more about Husk down the road, but the reason why she is here is to give information to the X-Men about the area. Also, she tells Kitty Pryde about someone who could possibly help the X-Men out with taking down the Nimrods and taking back the states as well. Husk leads them into the mountains, where out of nowhere they find this path down to some kind of bunker that was hidden in the mountains. The person Husk was talking about is no other than Nick Fury himself. We have not seen this man since he was forced out of S.H.I.E.L.D. back in our Jonathan Hickman Volume 2 video of the Ultimates. Left us wondering what this man has been up to. Well, it seems like on a mission to save the southwestern states. And this is So finally, getting back into Ultimate X-Men, we pick up where we left off last time. We saw Kitty Pryde finally make it to the southern states. The reason why this is so important is that when she got there, she met a young girl named Husk, who then led her into this space in the mountains, where Kitty Pryde met Nick Fury. Now, the two of them quickly form an alliance. But you have Kitty Pryde ask why in the world Nick Fury is trying to help the mutant race out, where you have Nick Fury state that he lost S.H.I.E.L.D., but also he states that with the concentration camps, it bothers him. It reminds him of some bad times here in America. Also, he wants to help the mutant race out. So he states that Kitty Pryde must be the one to fix the problem. It will help the mutant race in the long run. And he states she is in charge. He will be her advisor. This leads into Kitty Pryde going to stake out a camp that is nearby with Husk. This is where we learn what Husk can do, which is basically she can take a form of an object, and once she is done, she sheds it off. So here she touches a boulder and her skin turns rocky, which was the perfect cover for her and Kitty when an army of Nimrod sentinels were flying by. Also, we see that Husk may have a crush on Jimmy, the son of Wolverine. Kitty does not tell Husk that he is kind of taken by her. Either way, you have them continue their observation of the camp that they are planning to break mutants out of, where you have Husk mention how the Sentinels are being controlled by William Stryker Jr. Now for Kitty, what she remembers is that she killed William Stryker back in New York. She has no idea about his mutant powers being able to control technology. After she killed him, he transferred his mind into the Sentinel system. Now we know that, but they don't. So to her, this must be some kind of mistake with what Husk is saying. Now when Kitty Pryde gets back to the mountain base, you have Kitty Pryde talk to the rest of the X-Men who came with her, Rogue, Iceman, and Jimmy, the son of Wolverine, where you have them tell her about the truth of the mutant race they have around them here in the base are the ones that still need to be saved. To Jimmy, most of these mutants have been beaten down so much they might not want to fight. This is where you have Nick Fury come in and explain she has to find their motivation and bring it out. While she gives this powerful speech, which does help, but what really is important is that she is going to show how serious she is about saving the mutant race, with her and Nick Fury leaving to go kill off some Sentinels. We did get this weird scene with Rogue where she is walking around the mountain base, where she is watching other people touch each other. Remember, Rogue is unable to touch anyone thanks to her powers, but she does get confronted by Quentin Quire, who we all know is a very powerful psychic, definitely in the main Marvel universe, but will be here in the Ultimate Marvel universe as a very powerful psychic. We see him say some weird stuff to Rogue, but use his powers to give him the ability to touch her, which leads into them making out. Again, it's kind of weird because honestly, she just met this man a moment ago, and now she is here making out with him, literally 1 minute later. Finally, we see Kitty Pryde and Nick Fury go out in the field, and we see them find a Nimrod group, where you have the two of them being able to take out at least 2 of the Nimrods. This is very important because she takes the head of one of them back and shows everyone in the mountain base that what she did, everyone can do it too. She is 17 years old. Her powers are mostly defensive, and she does not know the area either, meaning that it is not impossible for other mutants to do what she did. So with Jimmy backing up her speech, she got her army now. Also, she has someone who has similar powers to William Stryker Jr., who can talk to technology. Now, when this young mutant named Blackbach touches the Nimrod, it actually sends some kind of signal to William Stryker Jr., where we see him in his new Sentinel body, where he still doesn't know about his own mutant powers thanks to his dad, but he was able to have the Nimrods build him a new body, and he heard Kitty's voice through that Nimrod signal, so he knows Kitty Pryde is nearby, the person that killed him. This leads to a few pages where you have Kitty Pryde sending a message out for the whole world to hear, a message where she declares that mutants are now free, that she is calling all mutants to join her in the Southwest states to basically fight back. This message can be heard from all over the world, not just America. We're even talking about Jean Grey and her people at Seer. Remember that at this point, Jean Grey stayed at Seer after the Zorn brothers left. But this is Kitty Pryde time to shine. But her message is also heard by William Stryker Jr. as well. So we know that he will come after her very soon. Getting back to Black Box, the mutant who has a connection to technology is looking at the brain of the Nimrod that Kitty Pryde and Nick Fury took out earlier. Now the Nimrod seems like its power source is dead, but for some reason it is transmitting a signal which tells Black Box something is up. Now we get to see Kitty Pryde's army begin their first mission, which is to break out mutants from a nearby camp. This leads us into seeing the son of Wolverine leading a team of mutants on the outside, making sure to stop any reinforcements from coming to the camp, while the main team breaks the mutants out. Now we pick up with Shola Inosuke, I know I just butchered that name, whose ability is telekinesis. He calls it combat telekinesis. It is just him being able to move small objects with his mind at a very fast pace. So he was able to take out this convoy unit by himself. It was just a moment to show off a new mutant and what they can do. This leads us into seeing the Gold Team, which is mainly Iceman and Husk breaking out mutants from the camp that was where again it is to show off their abilities, but to get introduced to another mutant who will join the. We see her at the end of this section, but this is a character who originally appeared in the main Marvel universe as one of the new mutants. This person is Armor. Her name is hard for me to pronounce. It is Hisako Ichiki. I know I just butchered that. I think again is Hisako Ichiki. I hope I said that correctly. But she is a classic Marvel character. She is able to create psionic armor to protect. Now, of course, the mission was completed and mutants were brought back to the base safe. So we pick up with Nick Fury and Kitty Pryde talking to one another. And honestly, that is not the important part. The important part is that Kitty Pryde gets confronted by Black Box, where he tells both Kitty Pryde and Nick Fury that there are recordings from things they said a long time ago, where Black Box laid it out for her that all of their recordings were being sent to someone. We know it was William Stryker Jr., where of course he does appear. He appears with an army of Nimrods ready to attack the mutants and kill all of them off. This is the perfect situation for William Stryker Jr. and the Nimrod army. And this is where So just like every issue, the story opens up to remind us what is going on across the nation in this crossover event, where the nation has been divided thanks to the actions in Ultimate Comics X-Men and Ultimates. At this point, the Ultimates have taken care of most of the issues except the mutant problem in the Southwest states. Also that Captain America is the president now. We also get word that Johnny Storm has been found. Remember, he was missing in the beginning of this event, and he was just found badly beaten, but alive. We finally get back to the present day, where our last video left off at, which was that William Stryker Jr., who we thought had died, had instead transferred his mind into the Sentinel Nimrod system. He was able to do this because his mutant ability lets him control technology. Well, in our last video, he was able to locate the location of Kitty Pryde, the person who killed him back in New York and sent an army after her. So we are picking up at that moment where now there is an army of Nimrods attacking the Kitty Pryde army base. Remember that Nick Fury is also here to help out as well. So we see him fighting alongside the others in this big battle. Now, William Stryker Jr. is not here with his Nimrod army. His death will happen in this book in the most anticlimactic death I have seen in comics in a long time. This is just a small army that he is hoping that will actually be able to take everyone out. If not, then he will of course step in to help out his Nimrods to reach his goal, which is to get rid of the mutant race. Now, luckily for Kitty Pryde, she has some powerhouses on her team. This even includes my favorite X-Men character, Storm. She just comes in and wreaks havoc across the battlefield, which of course led to the end of this battle, giving the X-Men this victory. We pick up moments after the battle where you have Nick Fury come to Kitty Pryde to tell her that he is leaving, that he must help the new government fix all of the problems of America. Where you have Kitty Pryde question about Captain America being the new president. Is he someone the mutant community can rely on to help fix the mutant situation in America? The only thing Nick Fury can tell Kitty about Captain America is that he has a good heart, but he has a lot on his shoulders when it comes to fixing America at the moment. Then he proceeds to say that Captain America will come soon to pay her a visit. Before we move on to the next section, we see that William Stryker Jr. is coming to finish the job he started earlier, with another army of Nimrods behind him. We then get a couple pages showing us how the relationship between Rogue and Quentin Quire is going since they had started seeing each other. We see that he was able to use his powers as a way to get rid of the voices in her head. Remember that every time Rogue absorbs someone's memories or powers, those memories or thoughts stay inside her head. So, with Quentin Quire being a psychic mutant, he was able to get rid of those voices in her head. Now we do get to the big fight, which is Kitty Pryde's army getting ready to fight against William Stryker Jr. and his army of Nimrods. You're about to see why I said earlier, this fight really sucks. Because the army appears and we see William Stryker Jr. go and confront Kitty Pryde, where you think he is about to have this big one-on-one battle with her. We don't get that. Instead, what we do get to see is that there is a small battle that lasts a couple pages. At the end of the fight, she was able to kill him off very quickly by taking her gun and shooting him in the head. There is the death of William Stryker Jr. in comics. To close on the first chapter of this video, we see Kitty Pryde meeting up with Captain America, where of course we see that he did have to make a tough choice when it came to the mutants and putting America back together. He tells Kitty Pryde that he is giving mutants two choices. The first is to take the Seer Cure, which we saw in our Ultimates video, basically a virus that would cure the mutant gene. But then he states that the mutants who don't want to give up their powers, his plan is to move the mutants to a reservation in America, be their own kind of state in America. For Kitty Pryde, she hates the idea that Captain America is playing around with the idea of a cure being out there because of politics. So she leaves, but she accepts the offer. We then see Kitty Pryde being interrogated by some lady who works for the government. The reason why this is so important is because with Kitty Pryde taking the offer from Captain America, the government is trying to see if she can be trusted. Also the fact that this picks up days after the ending of the first chapter we just went through, where we learn that there was an incident. That incident involved a bomb that went off. This lady wants Kitty Pryde to go back over what happened with that situation and what is going to happen down the road. We jump back 3 days ago and we see Iceman and Husk in line at one of the camps that was set up in America to give mutants the seer cure. At first we learn that Husk wants to get rid of her powers and Iceman is trying to convince her, don't do it. She explains that she is tired of shedding off her skin after transforming. Now this is the plot twist. When Husk asks Iceman to go get her a drink, once he is gone, we see that she has a bomb on her and that bomb went off, of course. Before we learn the status of what happened with Husk, we actually learn more from Kitty Pryde, where she explains about the camps being set up to give the cure, how the cure is a painful process, but there were thousands of mutants lining up to take this cure. We then learn that Husk was never truly on Kitty Pryde's side, that instead she was brainwashed to believe that mutants are a problem. Mutants should be killed off. Her plan was to paint a picture that mutants are a problem. Once the humans give mutants peace, then a war will break out or the mutants will attack the humans. She was going to use the bomb as a way to paint that picture. So the big question came up after they had discussed Husk, which is how Iceman is doing, since we find out that Iceman had apparently had a crush on Husk. So the question is, how is he doing after dealing with the idea of her being an undercover agent? Well, not good. He does not talk to anyone, and he just uses his powers in the middle of the field to get away from everyone. Now, the next question to come up is about someone we have not seen in a little bit of time. That person being Nami Bloom, who was this little girl Kitty Pryde was watching over back in New York after being saved from William Stryker Jr. Nami Blue has the powers of Magneto and Polaris. When we first saw her, she was only able to magnetize herself. Well, she had a secondary evolution when it came to her powers, that now she's able to do more with her powers. But the reason why she's being brought up is because we see that she has left New York and came to the Southwest, where Kitty Pryde and her got into a small argument that really wasn't an argument. To Nami, she feels like Kitty Pryde is always too busy to hang out with her or too busy to even talk to her. So now Nami hates Kitty Pryde. Her hatred evolved by the little time she spent around the camp that is giving out the cure, because when she sees that mutants are lining up to take this cure, it is Kitty Pryde's fault that this is even happening, that Kitty Pryde should have done something to prevent a cure from being out there. Kitty Pryde tries to reason with her about why she had to take the deal to help the mutant race. To Nami, it is not good enough no matter what she says. Also the fact that Nami was able to use her powers to levitate Kitty and explain that her powers have evolved and she's becoming a new threat for the X-Men to deal with. Now, she does not kill Kitty only because Rogue was nearby, but she could have if she wanted to. And this So the first page of this book reminds us of the current status quo for the X-Men in the Ultimate Marvel Universe, starting with the idea that after Ultimate Divided We Fall, United We Stand event, the United States government gave the mutants two options. Take the cure and get rid of your powers, or go live in a spot that President Captain America had made in the middle of Utah so the mutants can begin their own nation there. This is the moment we learn that only 20 mutants came to what Kitty Pryde is trying to call Utopia. So Kitty Pryde and the 20 mutants who came with her have to build their own nation on the land that Captain America gave her. Except we get reminded that not everyone truly believes that Kitty Pryde should be the one in charge, even though she was the one who led the charge for the mutants in the Ultimate Divided We Fall, United We Stand event. The main person who truly doesn't believe in Kitty is Nami, aka Mac 2. Remember, she is a mutant who really has the same powers as Magneto, just a tad bit more powerful. So she is really trying to split the community or gain enough people to follow her. She even goes on to say that there should be a voting system to see who should be in charge of Utopia, Kitty Pryde or Mac 2. Now, of course, the voting system goes in the favor of Kitty Pryde, mainly because of what she has done so far in this run. Also the fact that Mac 2 is only speaking about forcing the American government to give more, to leave what Captain America gave them and go somewhere else. Now, the Mutant Zero, who had also voted for Kitty Pryde, tells everyone with his powers, which is to manipulate techno-organic, that he is able to adjust the ground around him and make the soil actually be useful for the mutants to grow things there. So, with him being on Kitty's side, it is just her showing that she should be in charge, not Nami. After that, you have the mutants find the campsite where all of the stuff S.H.I.E.L.D. and Captain America had given the mutants to help them begin to build some kind of nation. At first, it seems like this is going to be a lot of work, but also the fact that what Captain America and the American government gave over to the mutants to use was really barely helpful. Except the mutants made it work. And then you have Kitty Pryde get a package from Nick Fury. This package was, of course, a gun. And this gun is going to be somewhat important. The importance of this gun will show up very soon, except we have to focus on Seth Vell, and he was one of the mutants who originally voted for Mac 2, except when Kitty Pryde won, well, he basically started to help Kitty since Kitty won the votes, except he's kind of being a double agent. The reason why I say that is because he begins to talk to Mac 2. Ask her why he should believe that she can be a great leader. The only thing she does to convince him to help her is to show off her powers, and that is it. After that, we see Psylocke, who we have not seen since the end of Ultimatum event. The thing is that she is working to help Mac 2. She tells Mac 2 to send Warpath into the room of Kitty Pryde to find the gun Nick Fury gave over to Kitty Pryde earlier. Before we can learn why she wants that gun so much, that is when we see someone named Farbird who is flying over Utopia. Now easily, we can see that Farbird is kind of like a Black Ops person, meaning that he is hiding in the sky in a way where none of the mutants know he is up there. Except this is the moment we learn that he is working for Jean Grey. Remember, Jean Grey is in control of Tien, and Tien was the country that we were first introduced to back in our Jonathan Hickman's Ultimates video. After the Zorn brothers left or was killed, she took over the spot as leader of Tien, and she wants to do something to Kitty Pryde. Getting back to the mutants on Utopia, we jump to the following day, and we see everyone kind of settling into their new lives or still trying to get used
to the idea of being out there. The first few pages of the second chapter paints a picture at first that everything could be at peace, just a small amount of hate towards each other, except we see that Nami was able to get her hand on the gun that Nick Fury gave over to Kitty Pryde to use. You have Naomi tell us that her taking the gun wasn't the important part. The gun will be used as a way to take down Kitty Pryde. Now, getting into the conversation between Jimmy Hudson, the son of Wolverine, and Kitty Pryde, we learned that Jimmy Hudson had walked around the desert to get an idea of the land. Except when he was out there, he found out that the land the American government gave to the mutants sucks. That there is even an area where the land is highly radiated. Plus, no animals for miles except maybe some lizards. Then you have Kitty tell us that she knows that Nami stole her gun, and Jimmy gets upset because part of the deal Kitty made with the American government was that they were not allowed to have any weapons. So, if word gets out to the rest of the mutants in Utopia that Kitty had a gun, this could lead to more problems in their community. Shifting the focus on Storm and Blackheath, we see them in the greenhouse they had made, hoping to create some kind of garden. Now, these two characters are kind of at odds on whether to trust Kitty or not. Of course, Storm is one to think of Kitty in a nice way, while Blackheath does not. Now, before Storm is able to argue with this man on how wrong he is to trust Kitty or not to trust Kitty, well, that is when he tells Storm to go and get Kitty Pryde because he has done something amazing with the seed. This is where you have Blackheath tell Kitty and some of the others that he was able to make the seed be sentient. They don't have a brain or anything, but they are able to adapt to whatever situation to survive and to grow. This is huge because now you are talking about a seed that is able to grow without worrying about it dying. And that can be beneficial in both feeding your community and also profit as well. Except you have Kitty Pryde tell Blackheath to keep this a secret for now. Now remember that there were people who were against Kitty Pryde and agreed what Mac 2 was saying earlier. One of these people is, of course, Psylocke, and she is a powerful psychic who begins the process of taking down different people who are on Kitty's side, starting with Rogue, since technically she is the weakest in the mind when it comes to everyone else. Remember, for a long time, she wanted the ability to be able to touch people. When she finally met someone who gave her that ability, he ran off, took the cure, and left her behind. Now, Psylocke is not completely able to get Rogue, but it is a start though. Now, getting back to Kitty Pryde, we see that she has called one person who can truly help her with the seed, what to actually do with it. With that person she called, they had actually called Tony Stark, aka Iron Man. Now, Tony is quickly impressed by the seed, and Kitty tells him that she wants to give the seed over to the world, except you have Tony mention two things. The first being that the seed is a magic bullet to make billions of dollars, but also change the farming community in the world. Secondly, once they announce the seed to the world, Utopia will be attacked. So you have Tony tell Kitty that he will be their businessman, but also their leader in their military, letting them know that hard times are about to come. To close on the second chapter of this book, we see that Kitty Pryde and Jimmy Hudson are asleep in bed, except that is when we see Mac 2 use her magnetic powers to move the gun she stole from Kitty over the head of Kitty. To Kitty, she is not scared of the gun because she can just phase through it. Except that is when Mac 2 points the gun over the head of Jimmy Hudson, letting Kitty know that Mac 2 is serious about killing the people Kitty loves to get her way.
which of course scares Kitty Pryde. By the next chapter, Tony Stark was able to get a ton of different people from different forms of media to basically have around for Kitty's big announcement. Just in one day, Tony Stark is about to put Utopia on the map. And this is huge because, again, with everything going on in Utopia, this is another thing that helped makes a rift between the community on who should be the leader of the community. Should it be Kitty or Mac 2? To the ones who believe Mac 2 should be the one, they begin to think that Kitty is taking the credit for what the others have done with the seed, except it is her trying her best to help build her community in this crazy world. With the announcement of the seed to the world, of course, we see how the world, that the world, of course, doesn't like the idea of mutants making something that can change not just how people will survive, but the stock market as well. This is what the mutant race knew was coming, except of course, they still let the seed be shared to the world. Now we do see that there are some people planning to do something to the mutants. This leads perfectly into the next section because this is the moment you are talking about how much money Utopia will make with the seed being out there. Except he points out that they will get attacked. Even though Kitty doesn't want to fight, so he is offering to give Utopia a set of weapons to protect them from any future more. Black Heat hates the idea that there was no vote on what to do with the seed, except it was more of Kitty making a decision for everyone and he is upset. Storm tries to calm him down, but of course it doesn't work. Back to the country 10, we see Jean Grey talking to Firestar and the Guardian. Remember, these three characters, including the Hulk and also Jimmy, formed a team that used to work for S.H.I.E.L.D. Except when the Zorn brothers failed and Jean Grey stayed to be the leader of this country, Firestar and the Guardian stayed too. Except they are here to tell Jean Grey that the mutants who came to Tien looking for a place to live, they are beginning to talk about how great Kitty Pryde is and thinking about going to join Utopia. Except Jean Grey tells them not to worry, that Utopia will fail and be over very soon. Back at Utopia, but on the outskirts, we see Mac 2 and a couple other people who are on her side talking more about taking down Kitty Pryde. This is the moment that you have Psylocke mention that she is talking to someone outside of Utopia who is down to help bring down Kitty Pryde. So they just have to wait. And they remind us Mac 2 really wants to get revenge on the human race. Now, what Tony Stark mentioned earlier actually comes to exist, because while everyone was sleeping throughout the night, that is when a bunch of helicopters come out of nowhere, and of course, they were holding a bunch of soldiers who were sent there to kill the mutant race. Now, the mutants of Utopia, and also the fact Iron Man is there as well, they were able to defeat these guys very quickly. Except this is what Iron Man meant, that people would sooner or later come after the mutant race. These men were trained mercenaries sent here to kill everyone. Iron Man brings up the fact again that things are about to get a whole lot worse. The next day, we see that the world's stock market continues to drop. But for Tony Stark, everything is going great for him. But at the same time, the people out there who are very anti-mutant are beginning to riot. This is something that is going to cause a lot of problems for Kitty Pryde. The next page, we get the return of Husk. And this is huge because remember, the Husk was the girl who first joined Kitty in the middle of the Divided We Fall, United We Stand event. At first, she seemed like an ally to Kitty, only to become an enemy of Kitty when she tried to kill a bunch of mutants with a bomb. except she came like she traveled for days in the desert and close to dying. Now, with her being here, of course, Kitty tells her that she can't be trusted for what she did, except she claims that when she did that, she was brainwashed, except after that, she was cured of her brainwashing and was released to be free. So she came here. Kitty Pryde does not believe her and wants to send her away. Sadly, Bobby Drake finds out that she is here. And remember that she and Bobby Drake had built a relationship before she tried to kill a bunch of mutants. So she gets to stay now because Bobby Drake is in love with her. Now we see Iron Man and Jimmy outside the perimeters of Utopia putting up some security around the place. Now this is an important moment because this is Iron Man telling Jimmy that Jimmy needs to be ready for what to come when it comes to the idea of war. Even though Kitty Pryde wants to handle problems in a peaceful way, Tony tells Jimmy he has to be the enforcer, except he's going to have to play it smart when it comes to making moves when it comes to war. After they had their talk, that is when Iron Man tech begins to work by telling them that there is trouble nearby. This is really a quick scene because this is Iron Man using his Iron Patriot armor to take this guy in the jet down. Also, to take him as a hostage to bring back to Kitty Pryde. Now Iron Man, Jimmy Hudson, and Kitty Pryde are trying to figure out what to do with this soldier. For Jimmy, it's beat him up or even kill him off. Except for Tony Stark and Kitty Pryde, they think it would be a good idea to let him go back home and be a message for anyone else who tries to attack Utopia. Now, before he leaves, he does say that Kitty Pryde should watch her back, that there could be some of the people she labeled as friends who could come back and get her killed. Either way, he does leave and that part is over now. Later on that day, you have Kitty call an assembly to talk about the rift in the community right now in Utopia. That basically right now Kitty got word from Husk that more mutants are coming this way to live in Utopia. Kitty wants to end the rift in the community so they can be ready to welcome the hundreds of mutants who are looking for a home. Except this is the moment someone blows up the greenhouse that was holding on to the seed. This is just the icing on the top for the rift between the two sides in the mutant community in Utopia. Now this is what Mac 2 needed to finally get everyone who was on her side to agree that it is time to leave Utopia and form their own nation, which they do. But the biggest thing about this is that Husk leaves as well. With Bobby Drake, aka Iceman, kind of having feelings for her, with her leaving, his feelings for her were just enough to make him leave Utopia with the Mac 2 group. This is where the story ends on a couple things. The first being that Kitty basically set up the bomb as a way to tell the world that the seed is gone. Also to get Mac 2 and her group out of Utopia, because with them being there, it is just them helping build a rift in the mutant race. That only a handful of people really know that the mutant race is still holding on to the seed. Then we see at the last couple panels, someone is planning to kill off the mutant race. They hate the idea that Captain America even decided to work with the mutant race. And this is where we So getting back into Ultimate Comics X-Men, we pick up with Kitty Pryde, Storm, Rogue, and Jimmy Hudson, the son of Wolverine, being surrounded right now by a bunch of soldiers. And the big question is right now, what led up to this moment? Because At the end, we learn that the American government is plotting to get rid of the mutant race. They hated the idea of the mutant race having utopia, their own nation. So, what led to this moment from point A to point B? Well, you had a story jump back 2 weeks prior to tell us what led up to that moment, where you have Kitty Pryde tell us that at the end of our last video up to now, Utopia has grown into this beautiful nation. That they took their sentient seed and grew a jungle around Utopia. Remember, the sentient seed was made by them to help the human race end world hunger. But of course, the human race hated the idea that mutants made this sentient seed. And so you have Kitty Pryde instead use that seed to grow a jungle around the nation of Utopia. We also learn that mutants who were in hiding across America are coming out of hiding and going to Utopia to finally have a home where they are accepted. Because remember, in America, if you are a mutant, it's illegal. So why stay there when you can go to Utopia and be welcomed and be loved? So, getting into Rogue, remember that after Ultimatum, Rogue been through a lot. But most recently, she fell in love with a young mutant named Quentin Quire, who was this psychic mutant able to get rid of the voices in her head. Except after he did that, well, he took the mutant cure and left, which kind of sucks. But for Rogue, she began to talk to the sentient seed like it was alive. And that right there is very important for this book. Do not forget that. Now, you have Sam Wood remind us that there are a group of mutants who left Kitty Pryde group because they hated Kitty Pryde for what she is doing right now. Because this group of mutants being led by a young girl named Mach 2, who has the same ability as Magneto, they all felt like after the big event, Divided We Fall, United We Stand, Kitty Pryde should have taken her army of mutants and attacked the human race. Instead, we saw Kitty Pryde build up Utopia. And so this group of mutants broke away, hid somewhere else in Utopia, plotting to get rid of Kitty Pryde. Except this is the moment we learn that really Mach 2, this young girl, is not in charge. That Psylocke, the psychic mutant, is really in charge of this whole operation. That she could be using her powers as a way to make Kitty Pryde and Mach 2 fight against each other. And the question is, why? And she tells us as she is talking to Warpath. Now, before we can learn more about that, we also get reminded about Jean Grey. Remember that Jean Grey goes by Karen Grant now, except she did taken over Tien, the country that was built by the Zorn brothers and the Ultimate Comics Ultimates, written by Jonathan Hickman. After they had died, she had taken over that country, Tien, and made Tien a second home for mutants to go to. And she hates the idea that Kitty Pryde had built Utopia, another home for mutants to go to. And so what Jean Grey is doing, she's going to pretend to be someone new coming to Utopia and to hopefully get rid of Utopia from the inside out, because she hates the idea of Kitty Pryde making her own mutant nation that is not part of Tien. We then jump over to Washington, D.C., where we pick up with a group of politicians who are right now thinking
about how they can attack Utopia without getting in trouble. Remember that Steve Rogers, aka Captain America, is technically still the President of America at this moment. Except they're trying to find different ways around his power, but also trying to find ways that will not get them in trouble in different ways. And the main reason why they think they have the right to attack Utopia is because they believe the mutant race is American government property. Remember that in Origins, we found out that the American government used Wolverine's DNA or genes to go ahead and spread an airborne virus that led into the birth of the mutant race. That Wolverine was the first mutant. They took his gene and made an airborne virus that gave us the mutant race. And they believe with that right there, that technically the mutant race is American government property. That is the reason why they can attack Utopia and go ahead and secure the mutants there at Utopia. But we then switch over to Jimmy Hudson, the son of Wolverine. And he's kind of dating Kitty Pryde, but he hates the idea that Kitty Pryde is trying to be a pacifist. She does not believe in violence right now. She believes of debating and talking to get what the mutant race needs. Except Jimmy Hudson believes more of you need to fight because sooner or later Utopia will be attacked. You need to plan for those attacks down the road. And so we see him meeting up with Warpath. And Warpath is right now is with the other group of mutants that broke away from Kitty Pryde's group because they hate what Kitty Pryde is doing at the moment. Now, with the second chapter, it opens up with us seeing that a bill was passed in Washington, D.C. Now, this bill is veto-proof, meaning that no one can veto this bill from passing. And so you have politicians tell us that this bill gives them the ability to go ahead and take down Utopia. That was the whole point of the politicians meeting up earlier, to pass some form of bill to give them the ability to go ahead and take down Utopia. And that bill has now been passed. Now we do jump back over to Utopia, where we see that Jean Grey has arrived to Utopia. And remember that her goal is to take down Utopia from the inside out. She hates the idea of another nation of mutants being out there that she does not have control over. To her, everybody should go to Tien, the country that she owned and basically picked up right after the Zorn brothers had died. Now, you would think with Jean Grey being a popular X-Men character in the Ultimate Marvel Universe, that as soon as she walks in, no one remembers her. That you would think folks would be like, hey, you're Jean Grey from the X-Men. You were popular. You were on TV, on magazines. Your boyfriend died in that big ultimatum event. Nobody remembers who she is. Now, you would think when Kitty Pryde walks up, because they lived together for so long, that Kitty Pryde would remember her. Except, Jean Grey uses her powers to make Kitty Pryde think as Jean Grey as somebody new. That she's not their long lost friend, that they never met before. And that is huge for this book right here. Now remember that Jimmy Hudson met up with Warpath, and that is huge. And you have Warpath tell Mach 2, I keep calling her the wrong name, I feel like. But you have Warpath tell Mach 2 what him and Jimmy Hudson talked about. That Jimmy Hudson knew this whole time that Mach 2 and her group were hiding out in Utopia. They believed they were doing a great job hiding out in Utopia and hiding so well that Jimmy Hudson couldn't find them. He tells Warpath, no, I knew y'all were here, but listen, I do have a deal for you. That
Jimmy Hudson loves Kitty Pryde, but he understands that Kitty Pryde, she keeps thinking that as long as she goes down this peaceful way, nothing is going to happen to Utopia. But this is Jimmy Hudson saying that sooner or later, the human race is going to attack. And he has to be that enforcer to protect the woman he loves. But he also tells Warpath that he knows they are hiding out in Utopia. And he's asking Warpath that as long as you hide in Utopia, you can at least help us defend the nation. And this is Warpath agreeing with Jimmy Hudson. And you have Warpath telling all of this to Mach 2. And Mach 2 is kind of like, no. You went behind my back and made a deal with our enemy. And she tells Psylocke to just hit him with a high amount of psychic energy until she comes back, because she feels betrayed by Warpath. Now, we do pick up with Jean Grey. Remember, Jean Grey used her psychic abilities to make Kitty Pryde think that she is someone completely new into her life. And so you have Kitty Pryde and Jean Grey talk to one another. And at first, this seems like them bonding all over again, because they have not seen each other for a very long time. Really before Ultimatum. And that's way back, like almost a year ago in our videos. And you have Jean Grey still using her powers to make Kitty Pryde think that she's a new person. But then Jean Grey brings up the idea of why did not Kitty Pryde go to Tien? What does she think about Tien? And you have Kitty Pryde tell Jean Grey that Tien is too real. It's not grounded like Utopia, where mutants can come to and help build up a nation, where Tien is the two cities up in the sky like it's heaven. It's not grounded. It's not realistic. It's too unreal for mutants to go to. To her, Utopia is 10 times better. And Jean Grey hated to hear that from Kitty Pryde, to the point that now she is more motivated to go ahead and get rid of Utopia. Now, we do pick up with Psylocke, and you have Psylocke really tell Warpath that she is the one playing mind games with everyone in Utopia. That it's her right now using her psychic abilities to have Mach 2 and Kitty Pryde go against each other. But the big question is, why? Why would someone want to start a war between the mutant race? That is the big question. But before we can learn the answer to that question, well, we have to jump over and we pick up with General Ross. Now, I have no idea when the last time we saw this character. I want to say he last appeared in Ultimate Fantastic Four, but I could be wrong. Either way, we do see him gathering a small army because, again, remember, Washington, D.C. just passed a bill that was veto-proof, where they can now go over to Utopia and recapture the mutant race, because again, to the American government, mutants are actual property, because again, thanks to Wolverine being the first mutant, they took his genes and made an airborne virus that led to the creation of the mutant race. So this is General Ross taking his small army and about to attack Utopia. Now, with the third chapter, we open up with Jean Grey still plotting to bring down Utopia from the inside out. Except in the shadows, you have Rogue watching her. And this is Rogue learning that something is up with Jean Grey. She has no idea what yet, but she's going to learn very soon. The next page, we pick up with Jimmy Hudson and Kitty Pryde laying in bed, where Jimmy Hudson is confronted by Psylocke. And this is Psylocke returning the gun that Jimmy Hudson had asked Warpath to return. And the reason why she's doing it and not Warpath is because to her, now Jimmy Hudson is in her debt. That Jimmy Hudson now owes her one now. This is Psylocke still kind of plotting this huge war between Kitty Pryde and Mach 2.
The next page, we pick up with Storm on the very edge of Utopia. And this is Storm waiting for Colossus to actually come to Utopia. We did skip over a book where it tells us that Storm and Colossus hung out together before Storm came to Utopia, except Colossus went his separate way. And this is Storm kind of hoping that Colossus will come out of hiding and actually come to Utopia, except of course he did not. Now, Blackheath does confront Storm, and you have Blackheath give off that hint that, hey, he likes Storm, but has no idea how to tell her. The next couple sections, is you have Warpath confronting Mach 2. And this is Warpath telling Mach 2 that she's doing a bad job being a leader. Being a leader. Because remember, Mach 2 was the one who broke away from Kitty Pryde. She took that group of mutants with her. But he's saying, hey, I'm starving out here. I can't survive out here. Let's go back to Kitty Pryde group. But you have Mach 2 say that very soon, Utopia is about to get attacked. And we can see that General Ross and his army is on their way to attack Utopia. Now, the next day, we see that General Ross has set up shop outside of Utopia. Except this is where we learn that General Ross does not want to go into Utopia gun blazing, that he is hoping to have a peaceful transaction here and tell Kitty Pryde, hey, you have 12 hours until you are no longer a sovereign nation, that you become property of the American government once again. And so he does go up there to have this one-on-one conversation. Now, on the other side, you have Kitty Pryde, Storm, Jimmy Hudson, I want to say Rogue too, get upset with the fact that they're back here again trying to get rid of Utopia. And you have Kitty Pryde go and try to have a one-on-one conversation with General Ross to tell him, hey man, that we are technically a sovereign nation. You cannot come up here, except up in the trees, you have a sniper ready to shoot Kitty Pryde just in case she does attack General Ross. Now, this soldier does get orders to hold his fire, but of course, this man right here truly hates mutants with a passion. And so, of course, this man does shoot his sniper off at Kitty Pryde. Now, out of nowhere, we do get this one page where we see that Jimmy Hudson is confronted by Psylocke. This is huge because you have Psylocke tell Jimmy Hudson that everything she planned is coming together. But she does mention one word, Mother Vine. That is huge because back in our Ultimate Comics Wolverine video, we learned that Mother Vine was basically a hidden group of people out there impregnating women with mutant babies to build up a mutant army. It was weird. It was so weird. But anyways, getting back to Kitty Pryde and General Ross, well, you would think that the sniper that got fired off actually did hit Kitty Pryde, except she did use her powers at the very last second, but you do have her tell General Ross that this is more proof that mutants will never have a home because the human race just can't deal with the idea of mutants being out there. And you do have Ross leave to go back down to his camp, but this right here is saying, hey, the war is about to start between Kitty Pryde and General Ross at this moment. Now, to close on the third chapter, 3 things happen here. The first thing is you have Jimmy Hudson meeting up with Mach 2. And this is Jimmy Hudson and Mach 2 making a deal to work together to protect Utopia. Except, we can tell right here, you have Psylocke pulling the strings by using her psychic powers to make these 2 characters make this deal. To have this war come to Utopia. And the question again, what is she planning? Now, you do have
Mach 2 group go back to Kitty Pryde to say, hey, we are going to work together to protect Utopia from General Ross. We know that we used to hate you because your beliefs was different from ours, but we are going to work together to save Utopia. And this is huge because it's Kitty Pryde and Mach 2 putting their differences aside and say, let's work together. Now, Jean Grey is the big shocker of the end of the 3rd chapter, because remember, she wanted to get rid of Utopia from the inside out, except she tells her mutant Farbird, who's in the sky watching over Utopia, that plans change, that she is actually going to help protect Utopia from General Ross. Except after she said that, you have Psylocke in the trees like Rogue was earlier, watching her, knowing that something is up with Jean Grey. And now the big question is, what will Psylocke do to Jean Grey? Now, with the 4th chapter, of course, it opens up with General Ross getting ready to attack Utopia. This is the big war to come to Utopia. Except at the same time, you have the mutants getting ready for the attack by General Ross. But you still have one thing we forgot about because it was barely mentioned in the beginning of our video, that Rogue was talking to the sentient seed like it was alive, and she is plotting to use that seed to help protect Utopia. Now, right before the war pops off, you have Psylocke confront Jean Grey. And this is Psylocke confirming that she is the one pulling all the strings. Not just Mach 2 and Kitty Pryde, but seems like she was pulling the strings in Washington, D.C. to have this war, to get rid of Utopia. Now, at first, it seems like Psylocke is about to beat down on Jean Grey, that she is the more powerful psychic, but you have Jean Grey remind her who she is, that Jean Grey is also an Omega level psychic mutant, that she is most likely more powerful than Psylocke in this universe. But while those two are fighting against each other, the war has begun. The soldiers have snuck their way into Utopia and begin to start shooting up the place. The war has begun, and this is going to be an epic battle. And to prove that, right off the bat, Storm gets shot. Now, Storm is not dead, but she does get shot in the shoulder. Now, you do have Psylocke admit that everything that had happened so far with Utopia, after Utopia was born, was all her. She was the one trying to get rid of Utopia. So every incident that happened so far in this video, in the last video as well, was all Psylocke herself. Now, after she does mention that it was her, getting back to Blackheath, this is a very touching moment, because after Blackheath beat down the soldiers that shot Storm in the shoulder, well, you have Blackheath finally admit that he loves Storm. And you have Storm say, oh my God, I love you too, and they kiss. Honestly, I want to say these two are a couple now, because if I don't mention it, I feel like someone down the road will be, hey, you missed this fresh. So there you go, the new couple in Ultimate Comics X-Men. Now, after that, you have Psylocke use her powers to continue to control the soldiers in Utopia, to begin throwing grenades everywhere. And this is huge because now she is starting a wildfire in Utopia, hoping to burn down Utopia at a faster rate, just throwing grenades left and right, and you have the mutants trying to survive and trying to keep Utopia alive. Except then you have Psylocke mention that she's doing all of this for Mother Vine. And the way she mentioned this is when she tells Jean Grey that she is planning to go after Tien next. Remember, Tien is another mutant nation that was made by the Zorn brothers back in Ultimate Comics Ultimates by the Zorn brothers. Except when they died, Jean Grey took over that mutant nation. And this is Psylocke saying, after I'm done here in Utopia,
I am going to go wipe out Tien next. And that was enough for Jean Grey to call in Firebird from the sky to crash down on Jean Grey. Sorry, not Jean Grey. To crash down on Psylocke, badly injuring her. But when Jean Grey reads her mind, all she gets is Mother Vine. Now, with Firebird taking out Psylocke or knocking her out temporarily, the mind power she had over every single person in Utopia goes away just like that. And that's when they realize they have all been tricked. They all been played, and now they're in this big war against the army of General Ross in Utopia. Utopia may not survive, except the next page, you have Rogue say, now. Come alive now. And that is when you have the sentient seed that turned into this huge jungle around Utopia come alive to show us that this jungle is going to help save Utopia from General Ross's army. Now, with the opening of the 5th chapter, you do have Rogue using the sentient seed to stop these soldiers left and right. It's kind of cool to see this happen because it is Utopia that has grown into this big, huge, beautiful nation, having different ways to protect themselves against the army of soldiers. But getting back to Jean Grey and Psylocke, this is where you have Psylocke say a few words before she dies. Starting off with the fact that she tells Jean Grey that she believed she was the one to bring the end of all mutants. That she believes she was the one to end the mutant race. But with her death, at her final moments, she knows that Jean Grey will finish her mission. That Jean Grey is the true villain of the X-Men right now. And she'll be the one to end the mutant race, which is kind of huge to say about somebody. Now, after all of that, you do have General Ross cease fire, tell his soldiers to stop shooting, because that's when he realized that they were also being mind controlled, that what he was doing was not his idea, that this is all for one, the American government, but two, because of Psylocke. And so you have General Ross tell Kitty Pryde that today she won the right to have her nation, to be a sovereign nation. But at the same time, he does tell Kitty Pryde they need to enjoy their young lives. They are just kids. Enjoy it. But this is the moment I like the most, because you have Kitty Pryde saying that we're just trying to live. But instead, because we are mutants, the human race keeps hitting new threats left and right on us that keeps trying to kill us. And with that being said, we are kids. We did not have a normal childhood. We would like to have one like human kids do, but unfortunately, we do not get that chance. And you have Ross leave after that. Now, after he leaves, you have Kitty Pryde tell us that right after he left, you had everybody working together, but they did trace all the way back to when Psylocke began to control their minds to build up to this moment. That it all began right before Utopia was found. That she was trying to build up this huge war to end the mutant race. And again, that is still the big question. Why was Psylocke trying to end the mutant race for? Because she did say Mother Vine. Is she working for the corporation that owns Mother Vine that is trying to get rid of the mutant race? That is very huge information right there. But still, this is Utopia moving on and rebuilding after falling apart thanks to Psylocke. Now, to close off this video, 3 things happen. The first is that you have Jean Grey tell the mutant Firebird that she brought with him from Tien to Utopia to go back home to Tien, but she gives him a code to unlock something big that we are going to see in our next video for the Ultimate Comics X-Men. But after that, you have Jean Grey meet up with Kitty Pryde. And this right here is a huge moment, because This is Kitty Pryde telling Jean Grey that after day 1, when she arrived to Utopia, the sentient seed was able to block the powers of Jean Grey. Kitty Pryde continued to pretend that she had no idea who Jean Grey was. But this is her now saying, oh, after day 1, I remember who you were. And it hurts my feelings that an old friend like you, who I used to live with, used to work with, try to use her powers to bring down a nation that I built up from the ground up. And this is where we learn why these two are at odds. Because to Jean Grey hates the idea that Kitty Pryde is trying to use Utopia as a way to hopefully build to a better future where humans and mutants can live together. For right now, it's just a mutant nation. But in the last couple of weeks, Utopia has grown rapidly, and she is hoping that it will continue to grow to the point where humans and mutants can live together. But for Jean Grey, that can never happen because the human race always hates mutants. And that is why she wants every single mutant to come to Tien to be this mutant empire where she is in charge. But again, these two cannot agree with each other's ideas. Now, Kitty Pryde does say one thing. She said if Jean Grey had came to us normally, day 1, Utopia could have been a sister nation to Tien. But since Jean Grey came in here, used her powers, and tried to play mind games with everybody, Kitty Pryde does not want Utopia to be a part of Tien in any way possible. That these two are not going to work together. And she tells Jean Grey to go home. Go home and don't come back here. But when you do leave, I do hope you realize what we are trying to do and what you are going to miss out on. Now, to close on this book, to build up to the next video of Ultimate Comics X-Men, you have Firebird put in the code Phoenix5. And we see this huge door. And this tells us that the next video for World War X, it is going to go down for the X-Men. Now we see in the beginning of our video, we see Jimmy Hudson telling Kitty that he is leaving her side, which is shocking because how much he cared for Kitty throughout this entire run. He tells her that it is because he was built as a weapon. Then we see that Utopia has continued to grow. Things are actually coming together for the mutant race here. We see that Storm and Blackheath are going forward with the idea of them being a couple, which is honestly great for them. But we then see Colossus finally come to Utopia. Remember, after breaking out of the camp, he did not want to come to Utopia because he murdered someone and did not want to bring any heat to the nation. The biggest thing about this opening scene, we see Mach 2 chilling on the edge of Utopia. She senses something kind of metal coming towards her, and she stops it, but she sees a bomb on there and it explodes. The next morning, we see that Mach 2 is okay, but we also learn that she was able to find Firebird in the sky and bring him down. Remember that Firebird is one of the mutants that belonged to Jean Grey in the country Tien. He was the one who dropped the bomb for Jean Grey, but the bomb he dropped wasn't to kill anyone, but to actually kill the sentient seed. The sentient seed was made by the mutants of Utopia. They were originally
hoping to help end world hunger. Then after humans kind of said no, well, the first seed was used, had grown into a full-grown jungle all over Utopia, bringing a ton of resources for the mutants of Utopia. Now, with it dying, Rogue is angry because she had a bond with the seed. Kitty is furious because this is Jean Grey declaring war between Tien and Utopia. The story does change over to Jean Grey, as she is having a meeting with Firestar and Guardian. These two characters plus Jean Grey were on a team called Ultimate X, and when Jean Grey actually became the leader of Tien, they began to disagree on the future of Tien. They don't agree with Jean Grey's actions because they know that she's really just doing this because Utopia is gaining ground on popularity over Tien. Jean Grey hates that because Tien came first as a mutant nation. She thinks everyone should come here rather than Utopia. She is basically jealous. Either way, that is when she tells Firestar and Guardian that she released a group of robot soldiers that the Zorn brothers have made just in case they are needed for a war. Well, the war is here. Now, getting back to Utopia, we see that Storm is outside minding her business, just trying to have a good day. Except that is when she sees an army of Zorn brother robots heading towards her. So of course, she tries to handle this problem by herself. But of course, there are too many for her to handle. It seems like Storm might die right here. Lucky for her, she is saved by Colossus. Remember that he finally came to Utopia to be part of the nation. At first, I thought this was going to be like his death moment. I don't know why, because again, there are so many and he tells Storm to go back to find some help. And so the first chapter closes with Storm getting back to the camp to tell everyone what is happening. Except at that moment, you have Kitty Pryde wondering where in the world is Jimmy at. He did leave at the beginning of this book. Well, we see that back at Tien, he has joined Jean Grey's side. The big question again is, why did this man join Jean Grey's side for? We see that quickly he is accepting the open arms Jean Grey is giving him. She invites him to dinner. This is not the first time Jean Grey and Jimmy Hudson had met. They have met before. We see them talking about the sentient seed, how strong the seed is. But Jimmy doesn't know that Jean Grey has sent a bomb to slowly kill the seed. We see that Rogue is trying to help the seed stay alive. Of course, the seed is dying because whatever poison Jean Grey sent is too hard for the seed to survive. Back on Utopia, we see all of the mutants who can fight. Well, the ones who can fight against the army of Zorn robots. For Kitty, to her, this is never going to end. The idea of war. How many times have they come to a point they think they are finally safe, only for another battle to come to their front door? Except this time, it is a war between their own people. Something that should not happen. A war between the mutant race. Making the mutant race look divided doesn't help the mutant race at all. You then have Jean Grey have the robots stop and begin to talk through them to send a message that Utopia will not be the leading nation, that Tien will be the one in charge and they need to give up. Except you have Kitty Pryde respond by saying that Jean Grey has messed up. With her attacking the seed was to them part of their community, and now she is dying. So Kitty says violence will be met with violence, and you have Storm kill all of the robots off in one strike. To Jean Grey, what Kitty Pryde just did is so wrong that to Jean Grey, she just murdered a group of people, even though they were robots. That makes Jean Grey angry, and so what she does next is says that she is going to attack Kitty Pryde in a different way. She asks how much America likes Utopia, and Jimmy tells Jean Grey that Utopia is very respected by America now. That gives Jean Grey an idea. You have Jean Grey go to the media to paint a picture that all of the mutants in Utopia are dangerous and violent. She asks the world to let Tien be the one to handle this mutant problem. Jimmy tries to tell her what she just did is dumb, but Jean Grey responds by saying that there must be some part of him that agrees that what Jean Grey is doing is right since he is here with her and he is not back at home with Kitty Pryde. Back on Utopia, we get to see this moment to see how powerful the character Magma truly is. We met her earlier in this series. Her powers are based around geokinetics, meaning that she changes the lands around her, like adding mountains, making a spring. To Mag 2, Magma should be also on the front line because of how powerful she truly is. We then see Colossus meeting up with Kitty Pryde, and this is important because remember that this man had murdered someone, not just anyone but a very important person. Kitty Pryde says she understands that, but she did not call him up here to talk about that. She came here to talk about the fact that she wants Colossus to lead Utopia, to be in charge of Utopia. Now you have Kitty Pryde respond to Jean Grey's latest schemes by sending Storm over to Tien to cause a crazy storm around Tien. Of course, Jean Grey is having a hard time trying to stop Storm, but this storm that Storm is causing around Tien is so crazy that even the news are reporting it. This is Kitty Pryde literally saying that since Jean Grey is trying to go to war, every time Jean Grey tries something, Kitty Pryde will do something in return, just building up to the idea of the Big Bang to come in this war. The next section of this story is where we see Jean Grey and James Hudson having dinner. This dinner is where Jean Grey learns that James Hudson was never on her side, that really he came here hoping to stop the war between the two sides. But when Jean Grey began to speak about killing off Kitty Pryde to win this war, that is where James Hudson thinks Jean Grey is going too far, and he actually tries to kill Jean Grey. Of course he can't, but this is Jean Grey telling James that he better make a choice on the side he is on because she will send more of the Zorn robots to kill him. Now getting back to Utopia, we learn that with everything that is going on at the moment, Kitty Pryde has ordered everyone who is not going to be fighting to hide underground while the rest who are going to fight in the war to get ready. But this leads into Kitty Pryde sitting down and talking to Rogue about what they should do to Jean Grey, since Rogue is having a hard time dealing with the fact the seed might die thanks to Jean Grey poisoning it. Where you have Rogue tell Kitty Pryde to go ahead and get revenge against Jean Grey, to the point if Jean Grey asks for a deal, there won't be a deal anytime soon. The next section is more of Kitty Pryde telling everyone that she is going to step down as the leader of Utopia. Her reasoning is because she is hated by so many people and she makes Utopia look bad. So her idea is to put Colossus in charge. And tell you the truth, this is dumb because she puts him in charge for the reason he will represent someone who is strong and terrifying. Of course, everyone is upset by this, but in reality, it is a done deal, and everyone has to get over it. This leads into Colossus getting ready for the war by meeting up with Mach 2 and Shola. We see them telling Colossus that they have made weapons out of small rocks that can be shot at a very high speed. To Colossus, this is going to be the way to bring down Jean Grey. You will see what I mean here in a minute or so. But yeah, rocks are being used as missiles will be coming very soon. The closing part of the third chapter, we see Jean Grey going to a prison cell, and of course it is Jimmy Hudson's cell. We now know that he did not choose to work with Jean Grey, and she does not like that. So what she is going to do is control his mind to make him be a feral beast. She will also tell everyone on Tien that he is actually a monster from Utopia, making it seem like Kitty Pryde has sent another attack from Utopia, and this time it is Jimmy Hudson. So we see her release him, and she sends him out there as a feral beast. So we then see Kitty Pryde having a small moment where she is thinking about how she feels about different things that had happened so far in this entire run. Honestly, this is not important. It is just her thinking back to everything, and then you have Colossus appear to tell her that it is time to have a war meeting. So moving on, getting back to Tien, we see Wolverine going around being a feral beast and everyone coming at him to stop him. Now you have the Guardian actually try to talk to James Hudson because they know each other, hoping to get through him and have him calm down. But of course, it doesn't work at all. We just see him taking on an army of Tien mutants left and right. This book does give us a lot of pages of this battle, but it ends with Wolverine being knocked out by one of them. So that is the end of James Hudson for this chapter. Well, this moment. Now there is a moment where we learn that Firebird apparently was let go from Utopia, and he actually was sent by Jean Grey to go take down Storm. This is honestly a funny moment for me because I don't like this character at all. He goes to take down Storm, and she does try to fight back, except it seems that he might actually win this battle, but that is when he runs into a plane in the sky. Some of the debris from the plane actually stabs him and kills him, so there goes Firebird. Getting back to Jean Grey, actually, we see the people of Tien bring back Jimmy Hudson, who is knocked out. Then you have Jean Grey decide that it is time for her to go ahead and kill off Jimmy Hudson. Lucky for him, you have Firestar and Guardian come in to stop Jean Grey. They have been thinking that she's going too far with this war, but since she's now killing people, well, it is time for her to stop. So you have Firestar kind of stand up to Jean Grey, and we know she does not really stand a chance against Jean Grey at all. Back on Utopia, we see that Kitty Pryde and the people of Utopia are getting ready to bring down Tien. Now, their goal is not to kill everyone on there, just bring down the country. The weapon they have built is going to help bring down Tien, but we also get introduced to Pixie. She looks like a pixie, but the biggest thing about her is that she has the ability to teleport, which you have her teleport Kitty Pryde over to Tien for the final battle. That is when we see, of course, Firestar had lost the battle. She wasn't killed, lucky for her, except after she was saved by Guardian, well, Pixie appears to tell them the plan is to get everyone off Tien right at this moment. Pixie needs their help to accomplish this task. But that is when Kitty Pryde confronts Jean Grey for the final battle of this entire run. Before we can see that battle, we have to see that Pixie is actually bringing back waves and waves of people from Tien over to Utopia. Colossus planned to get rid of Tien, but he doesn't want to be labeled as a murderer. So instead, he brings everyone over to Utopia to survive. Now you have Blackheath tell us that the sentient seed is dead, that it is more brain dead than actually dead, that the seed will continue to grow, but it is more of now has to actually be taken care of now. It doesn't have a mind of its own anymore, and Rogue is heartbroken. So of course, now we get to go back to the big battle between the two big stars of the book. Honestly, this fight should have been over at the moment it started because of how powerful Jean Grey truly is. except for the sake of the story, we are going to pretend that Jean Grey is not a powerhouse of a character, since we see that Kitty Pryde is actually able to hold her own against Jean Grey. Again, we have seen Jean Grey holding on to the powers of the Phoenix at one point in this universe. Again though, we are going to avoid that because at the end of this fight, we see Jean Grey actually being able to be defeated by Kitty Pryde. Now the problem Kitty Pryde has is that she doesn't make sure that Jean Grey is actually knocked out. When Kitty goes to check up on Jimmy, only to find out that he is okay, well, Jean Grey comes back to knock out Kitty Pryde, and when Jean Grey thinks that she has everything under control now, that is when Jean Grey finds out that everyone on TN has left and Pixie is getting Kitty Pryde and Jimmy Hudson back to Utopia. That is when we see that Colossus has released the Utopia secret weapon. All of those rocks are being sent as missiles, so many are being sent to bring down Tien. You would think this means the end for Jean Grey on Tien, because she is the only person left on the island, except it doesn't. For Jean Grey, she does get saved at the very last second by Storm, I think. And then Pixie comes out of nowhere to bring her back to Utopia, because Kitty Pryde did not want any deaths on her hand at all, so she made sure to save Jean Grey one way or another. Really, the book closes on Jean Grey being accepted by the people of Utopia, and she gets to stay there as well. They kind of accept her, but really in arm's reach. They still don't really trust her. Also, for Kitty Pryde, none of the mutants will be charged with anything for the war across the globe. Governments are happy that Jean Grey and Tien is gone. And that is the end of Ultimate Comics X-Men. Yes, I do know I kind of rushed through this book, but honestly, I say rush through this book. Whew, butchered that. But yeah, I did rush through this book because honestly, this was just Jean Grey being jealous. And I honestly felt like this book was kind of just average. But this is the end of Ultimate Comics X-Men. So if you do like today's comic book video, please hit that like button down below and also subscribe to the channel for more content to come in the near future. Also, any suggestions on books I should read? Well, please let me know in the comments below, because you never know, your suggestion could be a future video down the road. But I do hope you enjoy today's video.